He would then achieve his fourth victory at the Indianapolis 500 behind the wheel, listen closely, of a show car, a car that until just a few weeks before the race had been resting in its retirement in splendid comfort in the lobby of a hotel in Pennsylvania. Excuse me? That's right, you're watching Small Great Stories. Every week here on Splash and Go, as you already know, we bring you a short story from Formula One, or not, like in this case, as long as it's quick, fun to tell, and interesting to know. Let's go! Only 4 people on the face of the earth have won the Indy 500, the 500 miles of Indianapolis, which takes place this month of May, 4 times. AJ Foyt, Unser, Rick Mears, and 𝘾𝙤𝙥𝙮𝙧, and Unser's 4th victory. In this case, Unser Sr. happened under special circumstances. Let's put it that way. The then Indy veteran entered the month of May in 1987 without a car assigned to him for the race. He had already won 3 times, in 1970, 1971, and 1978. But the team with whom he had a long and successful relationship, Penske, which is still around today, at that time already had 3 other main drivers, Rick Mears, Danny Ongais, and Dennis Sullivan. Dennis Sullivan, by the way, was the one who pulled off the famous spin and win feat. He spun out, fought his way back to the lead, and won the race in 1985. But fate wanted Unser to have a second chance because during the practice sessions for the race, Danny Ongais suffered a massive crash that damaged his chassis. It was a new Penske model, the PC16, and they didn't have any spares. The only other 2 would be used in the race by the other main drivers, the already mentioned Rick Mears and Dennis Sullivan. Without a car to race, Unser had been hanging around the Indiana Super Oval, helping his son, Unser Jr., with the setup to secure a spot. Because in the Indy 500, as you know, 33 start, and there are often more candidates than spots. So some people end up left out. If they can't make the time, in this case, the required average speed. But let's talk about time, because our Formula One crowd is more used to that. But it's not stopwatch time. With a team set up for 3 cars, but without a chassis, and with the driver sidelined by the medical department, Roger Penske gives Unser a call and says, "Hey, are you around? Are you available? Do you want to do the Indianapolis 500 this year, 1987? Unser was around. By that point, he wasn't doing a full Indy season anymore, but he still raced on the super speedways, and yes, he wanted to do it one more time. So an opportunity comes up, but there was a small problem to overcome. There was no car available, or at least there wasn't a current model car like the ones Penske was running. So what to do? To search for. But at that point, nobody had a chassis to provide. That takes a while to get ready. There's no point in calling the factory. So they go through all the options, and an unexpected solution appears. There was a March 86C chassis, incidentally designed by Adrian Newey, available. But it had already been, let's say, decommissioned. It no longer fulfilled its duties on the track. It was resting in splendid cradle, as I mentioned at the beginning, in the lobby of a hotel serving as a show car. One of those you see at gas stations, fairs, events, where everyone sits down to take a picture and so on. Well, all the parts had already been removed, but the monocoque, the core, was still that of a race car. So Penske sent someone rushing with a truck to Pennsylvania to rescue this chassis. There was little time available to get it back into shape. The priority then was to get the car in working condition and try to qualify. Because, you know, there was an initial hurdle just to participate in the race. And Unser managed it, putting the March 86C, now out of retirement. He bought in 20th position on that grid. Modest for a driver of his caliber, but impressive, given the circumstances. The race, its 71st edition at the time, was clearly expected to be dominated by more modern cars and by drivers who had had the entire month to prepare for the 200-lap marathon. Mario Andretti, at the wheel of a Lola Chevrolet run by Newman Haas, was the clear favorite. He dominated the practice sessions, took an impressive pole position, and led 170 of the first 177 laps of the race. It seemed that Mario would take his second Indy 500, his second checkered ring. He had won his first back in 1969. And besides him, by the way, no other Andretti has ever won. There. While Andretti was pulling away at the front, Unser Senior, Unser, was running a smart race, climbing up the positions, staying out of trouble, and keeping his focus on staying on the lead lap, which is always a goal in the first 150 laps of the 500 miles. Survive. And surviving in Indianapolis is very much what you need to be in a position to dream of anything. That's why I always say here, it's a sprint race. It doesn't last 6, 12, or 24 hours, but it has the feel of an endurance event. Then with 23 laps to go, Mario Andretti's Chevrolet engine starts to fail. A faulty valve silences the V8, and to the shock of the crowd, he retires from the race. The sudden downfall of the favorite put others in the spotlight, and Roberto Guerrero now seemed to be the most likely contender. But the drama wasn't over yet, because during his last pit stop, a quick splash and go, near the end, Guerrero ran into trouble. The air jack that lowers the car, didn't work, and a clutch problem made things even worse. The engine stalled, and he then lost precious seconds until they could restart it from the rear. And when he finally got back on track, Unser, who had been quietly, if that's even possible at Indianapolis, working his way up the field, appeared to capitalize. With the calm of a monk, or perhaps a neurosurgeon, Unser drove the car flawlessly over the final laps, crossing the finish line after 200 laps around Indiana's Super Oval in first place. At 47 years and 360 days old, almost 48 in other words, he crossed the finish line, claimed his fourth Super Oval ring, and firmly secured his place in the pantheon of Indy 500 heroes. And he did all of this driving a show car. Pretty amazing, right? These are the kinds of things that used to happen in the past and are virtually impossible nowadays. And this story, specifically, is in my book, Splash and Go, Fast-Paced Stories from Motorsport. I'll leave the link to the publisher, Good River, down below in case you want to get a copy. There are another 20-something similar stories. You're always entertaining, just like in our segment, Little Big Stories, for you to check out there. Did you like it? So that was another Little Big Story from Splash and Go on YouTube this May, sharing something about the 500 miles, because after all, they're coming up in a few weeks. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like, it's free, doesn't cost anything, and it really helps the channel a lot. Do me this favor, do us this favor, because this interaction only really works when both sides are involved. I record the video and you interact by leaving a like, a comment, and your hype. Comment if you like the 500 miles, comment if you're going to watch, and if you think 𝘾𝙀𝙁 has a chance to get his 5th win there. He will be on the grid. So you don't miss out on anything we do here. We have notification channels on Instagram, Telegram, and WhatsApp, where you can join and start receiving automatic notifications as soon as I publish any content. The links are down below in the description. Last but not least, our social media, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and TikTok, where there's content all the time. Thanks. See you here next week, and a big hug.